Who's that girl next to you? Is that tree service?
All right, Mrs. Teresa.
Okay, I'll call this meeting of Seneca County Commissioners to order, March 21st, 2017. Please join me in the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, please join me for a short prayer. Heavenly Father, we ask for your wisdom as we contemplate the agenda today. We ask that we do what is in the best interest of those we represent, and we ask your blessings on all present. We ask all this through your Son, our Lord. Amen. Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Here.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Okay, and I'll accept the motion to approve the digital audio and video recording of the previous board meeting from Thursday, March the 9th, and the written index of that meeting.
So moved. Seconded.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Approved. Okay, so the first item, I think, in respect for Melissa's time, I will allow you to, from SEPCO,
Yes.
to make your presentation here, please.
Well, thank you very much. Good morning, and I greatly appreciate the opportunity to be here today. It was quite a drive-in this morning. And then I walk in and I was like, oh no, what is going on?
Just for you, they saw you on the.
I know, and I think that's wonderful. So, good morning, everyone. Melissa Bodie from SEBCO. I'm with the County Commissioners Association of Ohio. When Commissioner Thomas was in for our new commissioner training from CCAO, he had mentioned that maybe we wanted to come up and get on the agenda to talk about our program. So I took the opportunity to come up, and then of course the weather that we had today. I was here very early, so I just kind of sat outside. But so I do appreciate being here. Next time I'm not going to make it early in the morning. But I just kind of wanted to come. Thank you again for being in our program. We greatly appreciate that Seneca County is there. We work very closely with your consultant, Burns Consulting, Corporate One, I'm sorry. And if there's any questions or if there's anything that we can do for you, we are always here. Both county commissioners. I am a County Commissioners Association employee. I work for the SEBCO Health Insurance Division. But I just wanted to come up and make sure that everyone knew who I was. And again, thank you for being in our program, and see if there's anything I can answer for you.
Okay, any questions?
Well, what do you see coming down the pike? What are you guys monitoring that we should be aware of?
Well, with things being so up in the air about what's going to happen with healthcare reform, we're looking at new ways that we can do benefits. There's some, new President Trump is doing some things with HSAs that we may be able to offer another type of benefit, maybe lower deductibles along with our HSAs. Right now, that's all up in the air. Nothing is set in stone. So we're looking at some possible plan changes that will make things more affordable for our members. And that's really what we're looking for. What can we do to make our plans more affordable, make coverage more affordable? And we can't do anything. I mean, right now, there's a lot of laws that we have to follow with the ACA, and so we have to follow those. We'll see what falls out, and then we're looking at making plan changes that we can offer to our membership.
Anything other counties are doing that we're not doing that we should be looking at?
No. Really, quite honestly, no. Because you have an HSA as an option. And our HSAs are not the least expensive. They are high deductible health plans, but they offer with that a savings account for the members. So and with any kind of benefit, of course, there's a cost for that, but you're already offering that. You also have a PPO option to choose from, so you offer your employees a choice. That's exactly what we want to see, and neither one of them are very, very rich plans. They are both, it's a PPO, which is a very great plan, and then the HSA, which the member has that savings account that they take with them. Should they leave, no matter where they go, they take that with them. So they have two great options to choose from, and you're doing all the right things.
How much does the county put in the HSA accounts now?
500 and 1,000.
500 and 1,000. Do you want to go over the totals that you are allowed as an employee, an HSA total annual? We're talking about the tax year now.
And the law, per the law, how much the employee
Right,
can
so
put in there.
so the county
is like-
puts in $500 for John Doe. How much can John Doe put in?
Okay, I believe, and if I'm wrong, I will call back and make this statement wrong.
Okay.
But I believe it is 2,600 for an employee per year, 2,600 for an employee, and that's total, not on top of what you give them.
Right.
That's the total amount, and 52.
Okay.
5,200 for a family. I believe those are the legal amounts, and that's everything,
Right.
everything included, not just
Some of us
employee
old guys
money.
can put a little more.
And there are a little bit, there is some leeway for,
Age catch-up.
oh, yes.
Yeah.
For catch-up.
Advanced
There's-
maturity.
There is ages for catch-up.
I believe it's 55 and older. 55 and older can put in an extra 1,000.
Okay, very good. For individual, and 2,000 for family, or 1,000?
I believe it's 1,000 maximum that at 55
Yeah, I think.
Can
yeah.
put extra.
extra on top of that.
I think it's worth noting about our wellness program.
Through the SEDCO program. So that is one of the things that we've added, although we have made it, we can't really say it's mandatory, but we're making counties, we're asking counties very toughly to participate in our wellness program because we believe that everyone needs to be responsible for their health care. So we have added a wellness program that each county participates in. We come out, our Stay Well comes out, does a finger stick for each member, because if you don't know what your numbers are, of course, then you don't know. But once you do know, then you know you do need to stop eating, sugar. You do need to lower your salt intake, all of these things. But you can't know that until you've been made aware. So now, we do the finger stick for people who participate. You get a little bit of a bonus, or you get a participation. It's more of a carrot than it is a stick that we want people to participate in. And we work with people too. And that keeps gaining every year, a little bit more and a little bit more that are members. It's very easy to gain membership when people see one person get a check or that card, the credit card, and another person doesn't, and they're like, what did you get that for? Well, because I went to get my finger stuck and I paid attention to some lunch and learns, and I learned a little bit about health insurance, and I got a check here. And so that always helps participation the next year when someone gets a check and someone doesn't.
And it was before my time, but I know we had a wellness program before the Stay Well program was instituted across the state through SEDCO. And it's been in place and going well.
Right.
It's-
Just to clarify, as far as the incentives in the county, it's a discount off of their premium.
Discount off the
in this
premium
county.
instead of a check. And Seneca County did receive an award in 2000 and, he was here this morning, 2000 and, I think it was,
It was 2 or 3 years ago.
yeah, it wasn't very long ago. You just got the award for your wellness program.
Awesome.
Wonderful. Melissa, thank you for battling the fog.
I have one question, one more question
Yes.
for you. From a county best practices, are other counties utilizing a consulting firm to manage SEDCO, or what's the best practice there, and how common is that,
Well, it's,
to have that additional layer in there?
This is not mandatory that you have a consultant. However, mostly counties who do have consultants, they help with their voluntary benefits, your vision, your dental, as well as the health insurance. But if the counties don't offer anything other than their health insurance, they may not have a consultant. But your consultant works very closely with us. We work very closely with them. On the health insurance, we would do the reporting. They also do a lot of things with working with the auditor's office on the ACA things, as well as your voluntary benefits as well. So I'm going to say maybe half and half,
Okay.
but again, it's not the same thing because not all counties offer voluntary benefits. So if I was to look at who, I can take a look and see who offers other benefits outside of the program, because they always need a consultant to do that. That is not a place that you would want to be in, running any kind of voluntary benefits.
Again, Melissa, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time. I'm not going to hang around if you don't mind.
I think it's burning off now. You'll be better.
Okay. Nice to see everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care, Melissa.
Okay, any items to add to new business or old business or new business? I want to talk about meeting dates and times. We're at the end of the first quarter here. So,
I want to touch base on the safety grant,
safety grant. Commissioner Stacy, you want to bring us up to date on the Justice Center?
Sure. The latest sidewalk superintendent, as it's titled, issue 12 from the end of last week. I'll just hit the highlights of what's happening this week, as you're seeing things happen, and it's certainly taking shape over there. Installing the exterior studs, exterior sheathing on the first floor, masonry shafts on the east side of the building from the third floor to the top, installing interior studs on the first and second floors, studs and exterior sheathing on the second floor, and MEP overhead rough in. Key features, milestone dates, they continue to keep these out there. Hasn't changed a lot, but still erection to continue at the end of March for the balance of the building. Topping off mid-April, building closed in beginning of May. RTU to be set mid-May. Brick veneer to start mid-May.
Wow.
So,
Perfect.
Have we addressed the landscaping at all? Should we
got it.
discuss that?
I've got it, well, we can, but I got a list of things I thought I was gonna make sure I brought up at the leadership team meeting, and that was, and I wanted to get with Chad, topping off, kind of start to hone in on a date on that. The, discuss landscaping, the time capsule, we've got some things to bring up with that, and I gotta get that group back together.
Lady Liberty, or Lady Justice, I mean.
Yeah, Lady Justice.
Lady Liberty's.
Those are all on this handwritten list I've got on my desk that I was going to get on the agenda. I know we're looking for that to be coming in tomorrow morning for the meeting. The meeting is this Thursday.
This Thursday?
Yeah.
So maybe we
So
talk
maybe we
about
can
that our
kind of talk
next
about it
meeting.
our next meeting here.
But those are the things that are on my radar screen is, we don't have sidewalks or landscaping for the project, so.
Yeah,
I think it's time to talk about that.
yeah.
Okay, Board of Elections, are we,
We need to decide from the bids received, last week, the week before. We got a letter from Encompass, I think I sent it to each of you, for your review and discussions, you each got the bids. There were some documentation, not included in one of the bids, so, Encompass is recommending Charles Construction Services, is their recommendation. What we need to decide is,
how many
Alternates.
bids did we have?
to,
Two, yeah. Who was the other one?
Studer Obringer. And,
And there were some deficiencies in their bid, was that?
yeah, there were some things missing that we were required,
Okay.
so.
Well, certainly I don't want to delay the process, but we basically only have one good bid done. In theory.
Well, their recommendation is Charles Construction.
Okay.
And then what we have is the alternates that we listed, if we want to include any of those things or we do not. That was kind of the point of the discussion
Yes.
so.
And I know John and I sat down and went over some of these and, our recommendation is at least doing, option 4, which is the LED, including with the base bid,
Yes.
as the other options, the HVAC, and John, you can help me out, the HVAC that's in there is current and working. So we did that as an alternate just to kind of get a price. It is working, and we, knock on wood, we haven't had issues with it, so we think we can hold off on that project, knock on wood. As far as the kitchenette, I think we had talked with the Board of Elections, and that was something that we would like to have, but is it necessary? It could be something maybe looked in down the road, so. As for the bathrooms, I talked to Charlene, we are looking to potentially put that under as a CDBG project, potentially. So,
Now, are we approving both the Board of Elections and the Open Space Board of Elections was in here?
That was an
That's-
alternate.
That's alternate 3.
Regional planning is an alternate?
LED lighting was alternative 4. Those, if we put those 2 alternates in, we'd be it's adding 41,000 LED and regional planning. Because again, we thought the CDBG could get the bathrooms potentially, and then the kitchenette, we had talked about maybe just over time if we able to do some add-ins in there for that area, and it was not the highest priority for you guys, so.
No, we,
So-
let's
And
keep
then-
a refrigerator
And the
Yeah.
boiler system, again, thinking that, we'll get the life out of it and do what we have to do with that. So, I mean, that's just, if we did, like I said, I was just looking at.
And I don't know if you'd want to hold off on, not holding off on regional planning, but
Yeah, I
getting a
personally
quote
would
closer
like-
down.
Yeah, I would personally like to hold off on that, not because my mind's changing or anything like that, but there's also some, the health department's looking at, what they're doing with their space, so there might be some way to carve some more space into that area. So I'd like some time to think about that a little bit.
Okay, so the recommendation is, after you reviewed it with John,
Yes, it was the base bid from Charles Construction, and at least in our mind, the LED project, which is number 4,
okay,
and the rest are kind of up to you.
go through it, okay. Anything to add from the board of election standpoint?
Not that I believe, the kitchenette was never anything that was a big deal to us. Yeah, would it be nice to have some running water upstairs? Absolutely, but we can go down the hall downstairs. I mean, that was never a big issue for us whatsoever, so whatever you guys decide.
And if we
will
add
be-
the LED, what's the total bid then?
The base bid was 140,500, adding 11,200 for the LED.
So 151?
Yep.
151,700.
Okay, I'll accept the motion to that effect.
So moved. I've got two
Second, and then I can, comments, I guess.
I got two comments. One is we're creating a very nice conference space in the Board of Elections with taxpayer money, and I just want to make sure that we're all clear that that's available to other people that may need an accessible conference room downtown, whether it's regional planning or the Parks District or Health Department, it's taxpayer money, it's gonna be a nice room, it's not going to be used that often. Obviously, around election time, you don't want other people in there because you're gonna be using it full on, but during off-peak times, I just wanna make that clear that that's our desire.
Well, absolutely, and we have no issues with that. It makes sense, especially for regional planning, if they're gonna be next door, they don't have the meeting space, come on over. Like you said, election time will be the issue because of the fact that we need to keep certain things locked. And in order to get to our back workroom, because of the design that was chosen, the only way to access that back room is through the conference room. So that would probably limit some of the times that are available, but yeah, absolutely.
There'll be a back way, you'd have to go all the way around to get to the back if you, right?
But if we're working in an
Yeah,
election.
right. I'm just
Especially
thinking through that
presidential
there
or
is
governor.
another
Yeah. Yeah.
place of egress.
But yeah, I mean, we absolutely have no issues with that whatsoever.
Okay.
Mike,
Yes.
anything to add?
Commissioner, that room's gonna be utilized more than you think. All we ask is for a timely manner if somebody wants to use it.
Oh, sure.
That's all we ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all for everything you guys are trying to do for us and are doing for us. And we welcome anything, what way we can help you guys out at the same time.
Yeah. My other comment was on the LEDs. Their return isn't as good as I had hoped. I think they expect it to save about $500 a year in energy cost. But I think we're going to get an upgrade in lighting quality, and we're going to get some diminished cost in maintenance, changing bulbs and chasing after stuff. So, 11,000 gives us $500 a year in energy savings. So, I was hoping it was more, but that's what the engineers came back with.
Just have to leave lights on more to get more savings.
And as we're just taking a look at this and have no problem with going back and looking at the rest of the building and so forth, I don't wanna, we have put some wheels in motion, but there was quite a difference, even though I know we're looking with Charles on the alternate price between Charles and Studer Obringer on the regional planning alternative. So I think in case to be able to do that, otherwise, I just wanna verify, there's nothing that's gonna not allow us, we don't take that alternate, so therefore, we have that as a separate project to do something with the exception that that entrance is gonna be a no-brainer, it's gonna impact that gonna impact that wall's gonna impact that section, whoever uses it. But there's nothing that prohibits us from deciding in 3 months, 2 months, whatever, that we wanna see if we find somebody, because it's under the bidding
Right.
threshold alone.
And it's
I mean, that's not the reason we're doing it, it's just a matter, but I totally justified with the big difference there is in these two bids on that alternative, whereas, you know, the LED lighting was not as big a difference.
Right. Yeah,
So,
it can be done on a separate project later.
Okay, we have a motion, a second on the floor, roll call, please.
Commissioner Stacy?
yes,
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirchner?
Yes. Brandy?
Yeah, so the SIDEC has been leading a charge on a county-wide brand, which would include the city of Tiffin, SIDEC, possibly regional planning, possibly county and some of the elected officials there. And at this point, you know, I've surveyed the elected officials, and, you know, the response is tepid to enthusiastic on the ability to implement a county-wide brand. You know, from my perspective, you know, I think it's probably time. You know, we've got our naked Indian, and you know, everybody's got a little.
He's outside.
Yeah.
He's fully clothed.
Fully clothed Native American on our logo now. And so, you know, I think we're going to have an ask from SIDEC to participate in this with an associated dollar amount. Implementation will be, you know, up to us and our elected officials if they want to choose to participate. But, you know, I just wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to bring this up in session, so that there was some discussion on record prior to the action coming in. And if anybody wants, you know, I attended the meeting because I was available that day, so that's, you know, that's how my involvement evolved there. So
and you said the interest from elected officials was tempered to excited?
yeah, I mean, you know, everybody's got, you know, different things that they do. You know, our main outward-facing agencies, you know, I talked to Julie, she's got stickers on the gas pumps, which is a nice outward-facing county service. You know, Mark has trucks that run around the county. Damon has, you know, nice little congratulations letters he sends out twice a year. You know, so, you know, those are, you know, everybody has a website. You know, the museum is in a point where they, you know, are, you know, just defining themselves, other than branding themselves. The Park District, it's a perfect time for them because, you know, they're outward facing and they are just kind of defining themselves. So, you know, regional planning is in the process of relaunching their website, so it's a good time for them. You know, so there's the outward-facing agencies, you know, would have the opportunity to adopt this. Of course, implementation is costly as well. So, you know, that wouldn't be everybody running out and buying new cards and stationery. It would be something that would be
Done over time.
done over time.
I mean,
You know, we do have a monopoly on the services we provide, so it's not that. It's more, can people identify us as part of a greater whole, both people inside the county and outside the county, and is there some kind of common theme that we can identify with? So.
And nothing against any of that, it's just gonna be a matter of what kind of ask that is, what kind of dollar figure are we talking, and when we, you know, stack that up against all the other asking priorities, and unfortunately, probably not is gonna be as high a priority, because it'd be a great, nice thing to do, but it's not a have-to kind of thing, but I guess, I hope they'll be able to give us a closer idea on what kind of cost we'd be looking at.
So, where the process is they've gone through an RFP process to select a firm. So a firm has been identified that has done this for other communities, And, you know, it's approximate cost to do this brand study of about $50,000. The city is in, they're going to do something. It's a matter of whether or not we want to be a part of something like that. So I don't know what the dollar ask is going to be. That's obviously a part of the question, but we also have to kind of make a decision if we want to be a part of a brand.
Right.
So,
Well, we appreciate your work so far on this, Commissioner. And I guess we'll just wait and see what the ask is. And
yeah, I just wanted to make sure we had a conversation on record.
capital project transfer.
Yes, I think we had mentioned this at our last meeting, and Mike, you had asked me to put some numbers in for the capital, 'cause we do have to get money moved to our capital projects fund for some of the items we've had. So I put some numbers together. Currently, right now, we have 250,000 set aside and 215 for our voting machines. So what I'm proposing is another 250. I know potentially that we could get money from the state, but we don't know that yet. But if it's in our capital projects fund, then we could use it on another project. If they happen to come in, we could use it on other projects, and it's set aside out of our general fund for that. But if the state doesn't come in and give us any extra, so that would give us 500,000 set aside for the Board of Elections. I've got both projects, the prosecutor's project and the renovation project, 250 for each of those projects put into capital projects. Also additional funding that we had talked about at the beginning of the year, setting aside some maybe additional money for the JJC if needed. We've done that every year. I think I just picked 300,000 just because it's not as great as we've always done.
I really don't want to designate it as a JJC because we have identified a number of buildings that are very near in the need of a new roof.
Sure.
That need some attention. I think that the biggest thing here is for us to be responsible and not let buildings deteriorate
Okay.
to the point where the cost of replacing them
Okay.
far exceeds the cost of maintaining them. So I really think that the 300,000 is a good number from what we've looked at in the building committee,
Okay.
and that ought to be designated for current facilities.
Okay.
So the discussion is to set an additional 300,000 aside now, and again, put it into the capital
Exactly.
improvement line and not earmark it. It's for capital improvement.
Just for capital improvements, that's correct.
Yeah.
So you're talking about 250 for the Board of Elections, you're talking about, what was the next number?
We've got voting machines, both renovations which are all 250, so that's 750. I've got an additional 250 set aside potentially for the annex, if you so choose. We don't have a cost estimate on that at all yet.
That's already set aside.
We got 250 already set aside. I'm proposing another 250. So what we would be moving from the general fund to capital projects is 1.3.
Okay.
We are currently sitting at 2.7 right now. But we also, along with this, I know Holly and Mike were involved talking about in the budget time, we were going to set aside the front loading of the bond payment, which we need to do as well, which is about 420,000. So those are numbers that we need to think about. I do have resolutions, but they can be changed if any numbers, if you think we should put more for another project, less for another project. The good thing is if we put it in capital projects, it's there set aside out of the general fund. We don't have a dedicated revenue source for our capital projects other than our sales and our leases. Is the only dedicated revenue, which isn't very much every year, so.
Well, the sense that I wanted to create is the fact that even though we do have some carryover, there are items that need attention.
Right.
And we don't want to have a false sense of security by that money being there to spend for something else other than the maintenance issues that we have before us. Do we want more time to talk about that before we?
I'm comfortable with everything. The only thing that I just want to understand is the bond payment front loading. I just want to make sure that I understand. It's just accelerating the payment on the existing bond,
Yes.
and it's the bond that was for the jail?
The Job and Family Services, the RTA, it was all the improvements done back in 1998.
Yeah.
And they bonded all those projects and all those renovations at that time. So our large bond payment, our last one will be 2018. So what we talked about in our budgeting process is setting the difference. It'll go down about 400,000 after 2018. So what we talked about doing is front loading the 400,000 and setting aside in the budget 147, which will be the remaining payment for 2021, I think is when the bond finally goes away.
So then our cost of repayment for the bond for the courthouse then basically has, I don't want to say no effect on cash flow, but it has much less of an effect into the future because the 400,000 goes away.
So it's a cash flow issue for 2018.
That's why we wanted to get since we have a good carryover, a decent carryover, that's why we talked about in our budgeting process to front load for 2017 and 2018. The 147 is in the budget, which will make up that difference, which will be then the payment from
Otherwise, in
ETL.
2018, we have both the new bond and the old one to look at this way.
We're
That's
pulling
taken
it
care of.
forward to 2017.
Right.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I got we had the 250 for both board of elections and the annex already set aside, so this is an additional 250 towards the elections equipment.
Yep.
Additional 250 for annex and or
Yes.
other stuff.
Yep.
And the bond, and what was I missed one.
We got the prosecutors renovation, board of elections renovation.
Prosecutors is what I missed, okay.
Yep,
And that was also 250.
yes.
And then the 300.
And then the 300 for the set aside for all buildings. As you said, we do have some roofs. One good thing is that during that last wind, it kind of, I don't know if I showed any of you the video, but we had the sheriff's office roof doing one of these things. It looked more like an ocean than a roof. But the adjuster came out and looked at it, and that one section, they're going to call a total loss. So we'll have one section under insurance, but we do need to address his others. We found out, working with his maintenance guys, they've had some more recent leaks that we weren't aware of, because this year.
More wind.
More wind.
Maybe a little sleet.
How are we doing on creating a list of priorities?
We've got them. I'll share them with you.
Okay.
We've actually looked at every building and talked about what needs to be done soon, what needs to be done kind of soon, and what we need to look at. Michael?
Question at hand is, have those been refinanced, those bonds? Because I think the last time we refinanced them was when, in like 2006,
I think
6 or 7,
2009.
9.
9?
Yeah.
It has to be 7 years, correct?
Yeah. We won't refinance by the time that bond is done.
Okay.
Anything else on this topic? I'll accept the motion.
I have specific
A
numbers.
resolution? Okay,
Yeah.
why
I
don't
can either read them when I read everything, or I can read them now.
Why don't you wait till we go through the...
Okay. You are okay with both of them? The bond and the, okay.
Yes.
I'll read them when I read the rest then.
Safety grant, Shane?
Yeah, so I got pulled into a meeting at the COG on the safety grant and zero interest loan, and Stacy was with me. And I just want to say, I guess they're going to be notified this week that the grant, whether they get the grant or not. And admittedly, you know, I'm a little behind on this because you know, my new position here, but it didn't sound a whole lot like what I had heard previously as far as fiber and safety grant and whatnot. So I would just like, you know, regardless of what happens Thursday, we also have this loan that's approved, this, which it's borrowed money. I would like either for someone from the COG to come out here and talk to us three and explain what the project is and what the scope is, or somebody from the COG to go to the technology committee and talk to them. I was caught off guard on the direction of the project, and either it's my deficiency for being new, or it's the project has evolved and there's been some mission creep. So I just want to make sure that that we understand what we're getting or what we're being a part of.
Yeah.
So,
I think that there is definitely a need of explanation, and it could be it can be to our IT committee, or it could be here to us. But I think a couple things, when it was declined the first time it was applied for, we had a good grasp of what that was. Reapplying, they obviously had some feedback, I'm assuming from the state on the evaluation of that grant application.
They did.
Scaled things down a bit, and so forth, and it moved right in. And I honestly thought they were gonna come back again and talk to us before the application went in, but they didn't need a new resolution from us, so they used it as was and went on, and that's okay, but I think you're 100% on target. We need to kind of get an update on that to know how that does or doesn't fit, because with or without the grant, there's still that loan, but I don't know how that's a loan that's under us if we're going to implement that, and they applied for it for us.
yes, the only comment that I got on that was Thursday, the grant notification should be out. I don't know how prompt they are on grant notifications. And that the loan needs to be used or lost by June.
Something, yeah.
So, it's a loan, it's not a grant. So I just, if you guys are more up to speed than I am, fantastic, but I am not, so.
Well, I think that we had an idea as to what it was, and if they've changed the rules, and we need to know that. Why don't we schedule somebody from the COG in 2 weeks from today?
Yeah, I didn't know if the best place was here or the technology committee.
Here's fine. Let's do it here, so we all hear it, and we can let the technology committee know if any of them want to make sure they're here for it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
all right, thanks. The last thing is, we said that after the first quarter, we'd review our meeting schedule, which you guys have sent. So we're obviously now on Tuesdays and Thursdays every other week, as opposed to every Tuesday.
I just think from a couple of incidences we've had in the trial of it this far into the year, there's been a couple of times I feel like we haven't been able to be as efficient and available way, not meeting weekly. So I like the idea of a weekly meeting once a week, but that is my opinion.
Okay, Commissioner?
I don't have anything to compare it to, but I don't know of any dropped balls, and I like the every other week schedule. So, I mean, I think it mirrors.
Well, we've got
Council
the
does,
rest
but-
of this month, and I just put it out there as food for thought, and I guess that we are scheduled to meet Thursday as well this week, right?
And the next one will be the 4th,
The 4th of April?
4th of April.
Okay.
Did they not want a 30th? I mean, do you not want to do a 30th?
That's up to you. It was only put on our calendar as needed, and I guess I could ask Julie, with end of month, would you recommend we still have one on the 30th? We didn't advertise, we didn't set it, we just put it on our calendar as
Okay.
if needed.
Let's schedule a meeting on the 30th.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
In fact, let's schedule a meeting on the 30th. I said 2 weeks from today for the COG. Let's invite them to that meeting.
Yeah, good thought.
Okay. Anything else under old business before we go on? New Business County Commissioner Association of Ohio meeting.
Yes, I am serving on the board for a one-year appointment, and I just wanted to highlight what the policy team went over, because I think it's important, as when we attended the legislative briefing that CCAO had for Senate or Berks District 26 a few weeks back. The 4 priorities of all of the policy stuff that's out there, specifically with the governor's, with the budget, here it is for that biennium. The top 4, and I'm only gonna highlight a little bit on 2 of these, is the Medicare Managed Organization tax, replacing electronic voting machines, indigent defense, and the jail operating costs associated with mentally free and addicted inmate population. So if anybody's got questions, but in essence of time, I'm just gonna hit the highlights of 2. The top one, Medicare Managed Care, nothing overly new there. We know that the state came out with looking at having a HIC, a Health Insurance Corporation, they're the ones that put the acronym HIC on it, not me, assessment that'd be paid by the managed care organizations. The revenue from the new assessments going into a special fund as opposed to general revenue. The revenues resides, it was a sales tax. The plan continues to be a one-time traditional payment made up of two components, a calculated replacement calendar year 2017, fourth quarter sales tax to us, and a formula component that takes into account the reliance on the MCO sales tax in each county's per capita sales tax base, which stems back to what Auditor Yost, State Auditor Yost, put out in doing that assessment on every county and giving us our rankings on that, which again was things through 15, so it has some things not in there. The biggest concerns and that CCAO shared and we discussed was that makes, CCAO still stands with a tax widespread would be a better answer than to eliminate it, just to do it widespread. It's unjustified as is, only taxing some now. And they strongly remind us as we keep hounding that we wanted to make the counties whole. And the probability that is slim to none because that would take 157 million added to the budget in order to do that. So not good news, but that's the update there. Voting electronic voting machines, and then like I said, that's the only other one I had highlights on. They were still hoping to have some state term pricing available from DAS at the end of last month. That had not happened yet, and the meeting was Friday, so still didn't have that. Waiting on those figures. Once those are released, the secretary will issue a directive requesting the Board of Elections to meet with their commissioners to develop a statement of intent, the type of amount of voting equipment they intend to purchase and lease. So that'll be recommendations or thoughts coming from your board, Mike.
Right.
Such information would be due back to the secretaries 3 weeks later. The Secretary of State would compile the responses and issue an expected statewide cost to upgrade Ohio's voting equipment prior to the 2020 presidential election. Some of the big concerns here, they're talking OBM, the Office of Budget Management, has expressed a preference to using it being capital rather than state operating dollars. The flag there is that CCAO is pushing to get them to front load in the budget 6 to 8 million into that fund. But if it's in the capital money, it is not money that's available for reimbursement. So if we funded some money and wanted some money back, they can't reimburse on capital monies. So that's a concern. The other being that they keep talking about taxing capacity, and the taxing capacity is defined as those with a higher percentage on sales tax, say, 80% of their revenue is coming from the sales tax versus 20% of property tax, we get less of a share. So that all goes back to that resilience and all that stuff. I'm not gonna hit the highlights on the other two, but that's because of time, but yes, Mike.
As we speak then, hasn't been presented to the General Assembly yet, or they are?
It's all stuff that's in committees being discussed and so
Okay.
forth, and this was the policy update as of
So we really
Friday
won't know
noon.
till June till they come out with a budget, right?
It's hard to believe that the state of Ohio is going to mandate every county spend ours is small
Yeah.
compared to a lot of counties, but $750,000, let's say on average. for
How
88
is Upper Sandusky, how's Wyandotte gonna afford that?
Well, for 88 counties, I
Yeah.
mean, that's, it's hard to believe that would be totally unfunded. Now, it's not hard to believe that they won't make us fund part of it, but my humble opinion, we've got more than enough set aside at this point that hopefully we'll get some help from the state.
I'm not schooled on the dollar amount. However, I think we're talking plus or minus 800 to,
Yeah, the estimate that we got originally a couple of years ago, when we first started talking about it, was 750.
yeah, they're talking about 800,000 now. And hopefully it'll be 85% like the poll was.
Again, depending on how they choose to.
Well, thanks for the update.
Yeah,
Yes.
thanks for, one of the things that's happening this summer, and I wanted to bring up, is NACO is going to be in Columbus, which is the National Association of Counties. We aren't currently members of NACO.
We are not.
We are not. It may be worth finding out what it would cost to join if any of our elected officials would want to attend NACO, it's not going to get any closer to us than Franklin County, and the CCAO does have a push on to get Ohio counties to participate. So I think we should research what it costs to join and have a conversation on if we want to set some money aside to fund partial trips or day trips or whatever. There's really good sessions from what I understand. I've never participated, but it may be the least expensive way to bring back some information to the county. Julie, have you ever attended any NACO stuff?
No, and I think that they have the cost out there right now for this event, along with some of the registration. But you're right, it's gonna be right in our back door, and I was researching the possibility, and I was gonna ask if I could piggyback on a membership.
Yep.
Well, if fees are anything like they have been in the past for these things, the non-member fee is typically enough to to get the member fee is enough to go ahead and be the member and then pay the new fee. It's almost a push, so.
We used to be. We used to be members. Obviously, the Franklin County commissioners they're members and they're working on this, but he's going to have, Commissioner O'Grady was going to have his policy person. I talked to her at the meeting Friday, and she's going to send me some information. She thought there was a reduced rate if you joined to be able to participate, or, as a first time or something. So I told her I wanted any of that information I could get.
And it sounded like they may need some people just to help coordinate the event too. That maybe, sergeant at arms or different things like that to help with the convention itself.
Okay. Well, thanks to Commissioner Casey, you do have some contact with the County Commissioner Association of Ohio. Good job being a board member there. It's always important, to have that connection on a statewide basis, so thanks for doing that. Okay, what else do we have here? I guess we're into the resolutions, yes.
Okay, I have a resolution authorizing a fund advance repayment from the CDBG fund to the general fund. This is the $88,600. The restroom project is done, complete, and we've gotten all of our money back. And
Yeah, we received all our money, so we're good.
I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations to the public assistance fund, putting $21,600 into their contract service. They are putting this in place for their contract with SCAT for non-emergency transport services. I have a resolution authorizing an amendment with the Seneca Crawford Agency Transportation. So it's still SCAT, it's just Seneca Crawford, okay. Seneca Crawford Agency Transportation contract on behalf of the Seneca County Department of Job and Family Services. I have a resolution authorizing a contract agreement signed May 29, what are we doing here? Authorizing a contract amendment to the agreement signed May 29, 2014 with Interstate Gas Supply, IGS, and authorizing, this is our consortium, authorizing me to sign on behalf of the board retroactive to March 10, 2017. We got our pricing in, which I think was a little lower than, we were gonna do this 2 months ago, and they backed it back off because the rates were higher. They got it back in last week, and they put it at 5.45.
Compared to what we're paying now, what are we paying now?
I knew you were gonna ask me that.
If you knew, then you should have had the answer.
I know. I didn't know until I started reading the resolution. I'm like, he's gonna ask me that. Let's see. It's got a copy of the old one in here.
Come on, Stacy, get that Girl Scout in you, be
I
prepared.
know. And of course,
That's all right. I thought that it was actually a little bit higher.
I think you're right. It just don't. She doesn't have the old information in here.
Okay.
I can ask
Well, it
her.
is what it is at this point. I just want to know whether there's any more costs to the county.
Yeah, I think it actually decreased,
I think so.
but I'll pull it so you guys know. I have a resolution authorizing the disposal of an unneeded, obsolete, or unfit county-owned property. This is at the request of the Seneca Conservation District. They sold a 2006 Arctic Cat 650 four-wheeler. They, looks like they were trading in, the department received a trade-in of $6,500. I have a resolution authorizing the purchase of a 2017 Ford Transit on behalf of the Seneca County Veteran Services Department. They already have that money in their budget. A resolution authorizing the Seneca County Board of Commissioners to sign the satisfaction of mortgage for Brenda Crosby for the satisfaction of her loan with the Seneca County Commissioners for work done through the Community Housing Improvement Program of 1997, and authorizing President of the Board to sign those documents.
Yay.
I have a resolution amending, the mosquito grant. There was some additional language Charlene had asked to put in there, so we're adding that language. Not sure what the language was. I think just administered by Seneca
Yes.
Regional Planning, make sure it was clarified. They were
Instead of on
administered.
behalf.
And I have the resolution declaring the necessity for levy of taxes in excess of the 10 million. This is the Commission on Aging. They're trying to get their paperwork around. They did the presentation to the board. And then I have those extra resolutions. I have a resolution authorizing fund transfer to the bond retirement fund, putting $424,155 into that fund. And a supplement to the permanent appropriation to the general fund. This is putting $1,228,200 into the transfers out. And then I have a resolution authorizing a fund transfer be made to the capital projects fund for $1,300,000. And those are all I have.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody want to pull any of those out individually, or accept the motion to approve them all?
So moved to approve.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes. Okay, it is time for public comment. Yes, Ms. Judith.
For the prosecutor request concerning the records, are we going to individually each office submit, or do we want, like, get to go through Stacy so she has an idea of what records, or how do you
Well,
want us to
I
handle
think
it?
that there may be some things that are unique to each office. That's what concerns me. I mean, the courts and the clerk and.
So you want him to get like 10 different opinion letters? That's what I didn't know.
Yeah.
If you wanted to do one general, or?
I think I would leave that up to, Derek, you know, if he's gonna get a call from everybody. And maybe there can be a general letter regarding certain types of documents and then specific letters as it relates to your office. I don't know that.
But we would like to be in the loop so that we know what documents you're asking about, because, you know, we don't know what documents have different requirements. So, and I don't know how we identify those documents. We identify them as third floor, second room, or if it's, you know.
And Derek's gonna need some detail.
Yeah,
He's gonna
I
need
mean,
to know.
because ultimately we'll drill down to some kind of square footage that are required, so.
I don't know if weights and measures documentation have a different retention schedule than dog licenses.
Dog licenses are pretty clear in the statute,
Yeah.
so that's all. But I'm talking about the big, like your ledger books or your entry journal books on the back room. I have probably a ton of those for every year going back into the mid-1800s.
Wow.
So that's where I'm confused.
And
Are those at the TB hospital?
You need to make a road trip out there to
Pick
see
me
that
up.
condition. If you've seen 81 Jefferson, you also want to see that building.
And I know verbally talking to the prosecutor about our journals, he said if we have those scanned, and verified that we can get rid of our journals.
I mean, maybe certain things you want to keep. You know, I mean, that's why I said the Bowling Green thing, but somebody had told me that they're.
All of our records came back from
Yeah,
there.
yeah, are you the one that I just had a discussion with? It must have been, because nobody else remembers that, but, okay. Any other comments? Hearing none, we are adjourned. 10:57.